Dogfight can be played in any combination of solo or doubles teams, with a core game designed for 2v2. In Dogfight, your objective is to shoot the enemy plane out of the sky. This occurs when any one member of that team needs to draw a card to their hand and their deck is empty. Or when they are forced to remove a card from their deck from taking damage and their deck is empty. A plane is damaged when a card is resolved that targets a square which is occupied by the player's token. Cards that are removed from damage become scrap and are not available for the remainder of the game. To accomplish this, each team acts simultaneously during 20-second action phases, with the pilot and gunner of each team playing a shared run of cards face down to their team's action track. The two unique roles on each team have their own unique deck compositions. The pilot cards have white borders and are primarily focused on moving either their own or the enemy's plane token, though they do have a few cards that allocate damage. The gunner deck is primarily focused on shooting the enemy plane token, though they do have a few cards that move either their own or the enemy's plane token. And they also have cards that move the position of the sun token, a piece that provides a powerful tactical advantage to the team whose plane token shares a square with it. In Dogfight, teams are not allowed to show each other their cards. During the 20-second action phases, both teams must simultaneously formulate a shared strategy through speech and gesture alone, all while the enemy team can hear and see them. Because of this, teams must balance acting and reacting to the enemy strategy during the frantic action phases. When the 20-second timer goes off, the action phase is over, and the players are unable to touch the cards on their action tracks. The card runs that have been played by both teams will soon be revealed and resolved simultaneously. To explain the remainder of the rules, we will show an example round, beginning with the resolution phase. The first step and second step of the resolution phase allows any player to discard any number of cards that they like, and then draw cards from their deck until they have a full hand of 4 cards. Note that if doing so would cause the player to attempt a draw from an empty deck, their plane is immediately destroyed and their team loses. The third step of the resolution phase is repair. If a player did not play any cards to the action track during the last action phase, they declare that they are repairing and shuffle their discard pile into their deck. The fourth step of the resolution phase is resolving the run of cards that was played during the action phase. Each card is resolved simultaneously and in order, from the center of the table outwards. We will now demonstrate an example run.
First, the Navy team plays a shot card, targeting their gunner center square, or GC for short.
The orange plane token is there, and the orange team will take damage, and discard 6 cards to scrap. The player that takes the damage is the gunner, because the orange token was on their viewboard when the damage was allocated. At the same time, the orange team moves the navy plane token. Movement cards are double-sided, so that the player can choose to move the enemy plane or their own plane. The top half of the card from the player's perspective is the half that is resolved. This card moves a plane token from one viewboard to the other, so the navy plane token moves from gunner right to pilot left. Next, the navy team fires at gunner center again. This would typically deal damage, however, the orange team has played a card that moves their own plane token 1 square to the right. Because cards are resolved simultaneously, there are some circumstances where one card must be resolved before the other, as shown in the card resolution order. The short version is sun movement first, plane movement second, shooting last. Because of this, the orange team dodges out of the way of the shot, avoiding damage by moving to gunner right. Then, the navy team will play a movement card that moves their own plane token from one side of the board to the other, moving them from pilot left to pilot right. Next, the orange team moves the sun token from pilot right onto their own viewboard to gunner right on the navy viewboard, the same square as their plane token. Because they will share a square with the sun token, they will receive 2 powerful bonus effects relating to damage. Finally, the navy team shoots gunner right, which deals damage to the orange team. However, because their plane token occupies the same square as the sun token, they only received 3 damage instead of 6. Then, the orange team shoots at pilot left. Typically this would miss, but because their plane token occupies the same square as the sun token, all their shot cards target one entire viewboard, as opposed to one of 3 squares in the single viewboard. Because of this, the orange team shot hits, and the navy team takes 6 damage. The 5th step of the resolution phase is cleanup, where both teams take the cards that they played in the action phase and put them into their discard piles. If a team has used the repairing action for the first time this game, they will flip their action track to the side showing smoke, signaling that each subsequent repair that the team performs will cause the other teammate to put 3 cards from their deck into scrap. After this, another timed action phase begins. This continues until one team is shot out of the sky and the other team is declared the victor. By flipping the viewboards and the sun token to the night side, players can play in night mode. In this mode, the Sun cards affect the Moon token, which behaves differently. The stretch goals for Dogfight include other optional game modes to swap the Sun and the Moon for, which modify and freshen up the Dogfight experience without altering the core gameplay, as well as special action cards that can be used to add additional layers of strategy to any game mode. We are incredibly excited to share these options with you as the Kickstarter goes on. There is a digital version of Dogfight that will be playable for the duration of the Kickstarter, which you can find links for on this page.